Please be seated. Welcome back. Page 394. I hope your conversations about identity or your bibliodrama or your yoga, your walk, or your rest was helpful. As we resume our afternoon service, continuing our day of Atonement, 394. At this hour, Israel stands before its God in our prayers, in our hope. We are one with all Jews on earth. Today we say to our children, see this sublime design which was revealed at the very beginning, and which from age to age is realized. See this people, few in number, to the world unknown, declaring at the beginning of its history what will be its history. See this people choose the mission which chooses it and the way it was foretold. See this people. To our friends we say, see this people, exiled twice and twice surviving, teaching in its first exile the unity of God, and in its second the oneness of humankind. Know this people. Congregation Israel, can you not see an eternal presence abiding with your people? Can you not see in your past a story told for all peoples, whose shining conclusion has yet to unfold? At this hour, Israel stands before its God. In our prayers, in our hope, we are one with all Jews on earth. We look into each other's faces and we know who we are. We look up to our God and we know eternity is in us. We look into each other's faces and we know who we are. We look up to our God and we know eternity is in us. continue with tefillah on page 398 as we rise together. God of holiness, let your glory be with us always as a holy light illuminating for us the paths of righteousness. For you are holy, your name is holy, and those who strive to be holy declare your glory day by day. Blessed is the Lord who rules in holiness. Please be seated. Now all acclaim you King, the God who sits in judgment. You search the heart on judgment day. You command us to righteousness on judgment day. Your love is steadfast on judgment day. You show compassion to your creatures on judgment day. You see through our masks on judgment day. You are arraigned in judgment on judgment day. Your splendor is awesome on judgment day.
You pardon the wayward in judgment.
You answer all who call upon you on judgment day.
You have compassion in judgment.
You penetrate all mysteries on judgment day.
You free your children in judgment.
You are merciful to your people on Judgment Day.
You preserve those who love God in judgment.
You uphold all who live with integrity on Judgment Day. Let now an infinite presence teach us gentleness that transcends force and melts our hardness of heart. Then shall we be sensitive to the needs of our neighbors and responsive to their pleas, all who struggle vainly for attention, all whose faces we forget from one encounter to the next, all whose ambition exceeds their skill, all whose minds are clouded or weak, all who wait in pain only for death, those who are unloved with none to love, all who are deprived by the callousness of others, to all these, O God, may we respond with open hearts. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, we have sinned against life by failing to work for peace.
We have sinned against life by keeping silence and basis for justice.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, we have sinned against life by ignoring those who suffer in distant lands.
We have sinned against life by forgetting the poor in our own midst.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, we have failed to respect those made in the image of God.
We have withheld our love from those who depend on us.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, we have engaged in gossip and in repeated slander.
We have distorted the truth for our own advantage.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, we have conformed to fashion and not to conscience.
We have indulged in despair and trafficked with cynics.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, we have given meager support to our houses of study.
We have neglected our heritage learning.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, we have sinned against ourselves and paid scant heed to the life of the Spirit. We take time now for a moment of silence, either with the words of our prayer books or the words of our heart, and we'll reconvene again on page 408.
shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. Amen. Oseh shalom shalom bimromav. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. V'al kol Yisrael amen.
May the one whose presence dwells in this house cause love and harmony, peace and friendship to dwell among us now and always. What we'll next do is something called Aleinu Hagadol. And it's the same Aleinu that we usually do, but what's different about it in this part of the year is that the clergy needs to kneel down. So normally when we bend our knees and bow, what happens now is that we go down onto the ground and we prostrate ourselves. And I would encourage anyone who wants to take this act of humility. The reason the clergy do it is because we're the representatives of the whole community. And so all the more so, we should be more humble and we shouldn't let things get to our heads. And it's a opportunity to feel that way too. And if you don't want to do that, then perhaps you can help those around you who do choose to prostrate themselves. Help them just get up, because you can, both physically it helps, but also it's a sign also that of humility to help other people get up. You don't really always need the help getting up, but sometimes it's nice just to have someone help you through something. And so there's also that show of humility, that you're willing to take help even when you don't absolutely need it. So that's the next one. We're going to rise. It's page 409. Please be seated. Author of life, in the beginning you formed the universe and established the earth. Beholding chaos, seeing the darkness that lay upon the face of the deep, you brought forth brightness to dispel the gloom. Creation danced as clay took on your image. How can dust become the one whose thought is more than dust? Driven by restless yearnings, we ate of the tree of knowledge. And ever since we dream of your garden, a vision we fled, a vision we fly to. For even now your pity upholds us, growing in numbers, increasing our skills, we feel blessed by your goodness. How then can we break our bond and say to you, depart from us? In an instant we wither without your care. Judgment follows our every deed, but you are mindful of your covenant, a sign of your blessing. The rainbow adorns the heavens. Knowledge grows, still we stray. And in pride assault those heavens, lunar cold invades us. Many fail and fall. Nothing abides. Oh, but some who shine as stars bear witness to your love.
La 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 khalifa nav inshallah mimenu manila shon hashebi kalam ashira uzo abi arnanot bead mi لآدم أرخلف ومأدوناي معني لشون أدوناي صفاتاي تفتح وفي
Bereshit. In the beginning God created the heavens and the earth was without form and void, and there was darkness upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved over the surface of the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. For countless ages the sun flooded our planet with light, yet no eye beheld its brilliance. The winds whispered and roared, but no ear heard their soft murmurs or thundering peals. Then God said, "Let the waters teem with swarms of living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth
across the vault of heaven."
And God said, "Let the earth bring forth living creatures according to their kinds, cattle, reptiles, and land animals according to their kinds." And it was so. Creatures were born in the shallow waters, of one substance with earth and sea and air. But your creative word endowed them with new powers. They could feed and sustain themselves, reproduce and multiply. Some had the further gift to perceive, explore, and apprehend their world. And so, by your word, the earth awoke. A flood of light burst forth to shape innumerable forms of life in an endless variety of living species. Praise the Lord, O my soul. O Lord my God, you are very great. You are arrayed in glory and majesty. You wrap yourself in light as with a garment.
You stretch out the heavens like a curtain.
The winds are your messengers.
Flames of fire your ministers.
You cause streams to spring forth in the valleys. You run between the mountains,
giving drink to all the beasts of the field.
The birds of the air nest on their banks and sing among the leaves.
You make the moon to mark the
seasons.
seasons.
The sun knows its time of setting. How manifold are your works, O God.
In wisdom you have made them all. The earth and its fullness is yours. We continue on page 417. Thank you.
Long ago, but we remember it well, you inspired a people, the house of Israel, to recognize that flame and minister to it as a kingdom of priests and a holy people. This was to be the meaning and message of their existence, the calling of those who gave up home and hearth to found a people pledged to do your will. Then the Lord said to Abram, "Go forth from your country and your birthplace and your ancestral home to the land that I will show you, and I will make of you a great people. I will bless you and make your name great, and you will be a blessing. Through you shall all the families of the earth be blessed." Many generations later, redeemed from slavery, Abraham's descendants stood at Mount Sinai. The ancient promise was to be confirmed, the ancient mandate reasserted and enlarged, the ancient covenant renewed and sealed to bind all future generations. God revealed the Torah, no bird chirped, no fowl beat its wings, no ox bellowed, the angels did not sing, the sea did not stir, no creature uttered a sound, the world was silent and still, and the divine voice spoke, "I, the Lord, am your God. I, the Lord, am your God, who led you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods beside me. You shall not invoke the name of the Lord your God with malice. Remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. Honor your father and your mother. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. You shall not covet." Thus pledged to play a redemptive role in the world's unfolding destiny, Israel journeyed on from Sinai and reached the promised land, the land they loved, and which seemed to love them in return. On one of its mountains they built a city, Jerusalem, and on top of the mountain a temple, symbol of the splendor of Israel's God. But no city is eternal, no temple stands forever. Centuries passed, Israel stumbled and fell. The city was stormed, the temple burned to ashes. The flower of the nation carried captive to the conqueror's land. By the waters of Babylon they sat and wept, remembering Jerusalem. How shall we sing the Lord's song in a foreign land? But the Lord had not deserted them. Restoration was at hand. Take comfort, my people, says your God. Speak tenderly to Jerusalem. Proclaim to her that her bondage is ended, her iniquity pardoned, that she has received from the Lord's hand ample punishment for her sins. A voice proclaims, "Build a road for the Lord through the wilderness. Clear a highway in the desert for our God. Every valley shall be exalted, every mountain and hill made low. The uneven ground shall be made level, the rough places a plain. The glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and united all shall see it, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken." How like a dream it was, but far more real. The exiles returned to Jerusalem. They laughed for joy. The Lord had done great things for them, and with full hearts they dedicated a new temple to the Eternal One, Creator and Sustainer of all being. Here the ancient forms of worship were resumed, and new ones evolved, chief among them the Day of Atonement. The ritual begins at dawn. Great crowds converge from far and near upon the temple, until its courts are filled to overflowing with priests and Levites, men and women, young and old. The high priest has prepared himself for 7 days. How can he intercede for others if he is impure himself? All night he has rehearsed the sacred ritual. Robed in gold, he burns the incense, offers the sacrifices, dispatches a goat into the wilderness, the goat a symbol of the people's longing to be rid of sin. How splendid he looks in his glittering array. How heavy is his responsibility as alone he enters the Holy of Holies, that curtained chamber, mysterious yet simple, containing nothing but a stone. But engraved on that stone are God's 10 words. How glorious he is when he comes from behind the veil of the shrine. 3 times the white-robed high priest recites a confession of sins, first for himself and for his family. O Lord, pardon the sins, iniquities, and transgressions that I have committed before you, I and my household, as it has been said, on this day atonement shall be made for you to purify you. You shall be cleansed from all your sins before the Lord. So too do we confess our own sins and pray on behalf of our loved ones. Lord, let our homes be dwelling places of your presence, where love and justice are taught and practiced. May we always enter them with eager hearts, and from them go into the world with dedication and a firm resolve, faithfully to carry out the tasks of life. So may we too be priests, ministering to the needs of others and making clear in the world the beauty of holiness.
Continue on page 424.
We too pray not only for ourselves, but for the Jewish people as a whole, whose destiny is our own and whose hope we share. All as how much there is in the life of our people, that the unworthy of its noble past and its high calling.
Some have strayed from their ancestral faith and broken the chain of tradition. Some have despised their birthright and treated their heritage with contempt. Some have dishonored the Sabbath and desecrated the festive days. Some are deaf to the music of mitzvah, and they shut their eyes to the beauty of holiness. Some have made idols of professional advancement, social status, and material reward. Some, while pretending to love humanity, have withheld from their own people and love the earth. Some have forgotten that Judaism calls to us to love and to serve others. Some, by their wrong actions and by their failure to act, have brought dishonor upon our people. In our communal life, needless conflict and groundless hatred destroy the unity of Israel. And in the name of unity, we sometimes disregard the greater virtues and integrity. Self-seeking leaves little room for self-sacrifice, and our high-sounding words are rarely translated into action.
For all of those sinned, we have asked forgiveness and pray that the house of Israel, purified, reconciled, and reconsecrate, may again become worthy to stand in your presence and to be the messenger of your word. O Lord our God, God Most High.
The second temple, like the first, came to an end in all its splendid rites, including those of Yom Kippur, became a wistful memory. But when it fell, the synagogue, house of the people's assembly, took its place. No sacrifices were offered here. Here Israel's people met to study the word of God, so that the law taught by Moses and the prophets became the heritage of the congregation of Jacob, together chanting prayer and praise to their divine Creator, bringing to God instead of burnt offerings the offering of their lips, in the service of their hearts, together seeking atonement through repentance, prayer, and charity. Here in the synagogues, our people found the presence of God and the guidance they needed to hallow their lives. And as they entered them, they sang.
Ma tovu ohaleka Yaakov, mishkanotecha Yisrael. How lovely are your tents, O Jacob, your dwelling places, O Israel. We continue on page 432.
I have taken an oath to remember it all, to remember, to forget nothing at all, forgetting nothing of this, till the 10th generation, till the grief disappears, to the last, to its ending, till the punishing blows are ended for good. I swear this night of terror shall not have passed in vain. I swear this morning I'll never live unchanged. And if I were no wiser, even now, even now.
In the time of Hadrian, emperor of Rome, the study and practice of Torah were forbidden. Israel's leaders said, "How survive without the tree of life? Why live when the soul is dead?" And so they taught and learned and did God's will. Israel's 10 leaders were taken and doomed. Shimon ben Gamaliel was slain. Remembering his wisdom and witnessing his death, disciples exclaimed, "Is this Torah and this its reward?" Rabbi Yishmael was next to die. In pain and anguish he cried out, and at his cry the heavens trembled. "Accept this, affirm me, for if you fail, the world must crumble into chaos." Then Yishmael accepted his fate and said, "I will trust in you even though you slay me." These things I remember as I pour out my heart, how the arrogant have devoured us. Akiba had defied this decree and continued to teach. He was among those taken. He was led to his death at the time when the Shema is recited. As his flesh was flayed, he said, "Shema Yisrael." "Even now?" his disciples asked. He replied, "All my life this verse has troubled me. Love the Lord your God with all your being. Love God, though you must die for it. I prayed always to be able to fulfill this, and now I can." And with his final breath he said, "Adonai Echad," the Lord is one, prolonging the last word until life was gone. Thus in a godless world was God affirmed.
These things I remember as I pour out my heart, how the arrogant have devoured us. The Romans had forbidden the ordination of rabbis, decreeing death to ordinator and those ordained, and destruction for any city in which ordination would take place. Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava ordained 5 in the hills between 2 cities, Shephrem and Ushra. When the enemy soldiers were upon them, Rabbi Yehuda told his disciples to flee. "What will become of you?" they cried. He answered, "I shall place myself before them as an immovable rock." So he did, and the Romans' lances struck him down, but the disciples escaped. The 10 included other teachers, 10 teachers among many. Dying, they did not perish. Their faith is immortal, their God eternal. These things I remember as I pour out my heart, how the arrogant have devoured us.
In the days of the Crusades, whole communities of Jews were massacred in the Rhineland. One city, young and old, donned armor and stood behind their leader, Rabbi Kalonimus ben Meshulam. The gate was smashed. Their friends had fled, and death reached out with a sword and fire. They said to one another, "Let us be strong and bear the yoke of our holy faith, for only in this world can the enemy kill us." In another city, as the flames mounted high, the martyrs began to sing a song that began softly but rose to a crescendo. Those who heard it came and asked, "What kind of song is this? We have never heard such a sweet melody." It was the Aleinu. We must praise the Lord of all. So it was for us long ago, and only yesterday we drained once more the cup of sorrow.
A voice is heard in Ramah, lamentation and bitter weeping. Rachel is weeping for her children, refusing to be comforted for her children, for they are gone. How many these are who rest in nameless graves, and how many whose ashes were blown by the winds to every corner of the earth. Even now the air we breathe is thick with the dust of our martyrs. Do men and women know that they breathe it still? And how can they not feel the earth trembling beneath their feet as they walk upon ground under which so many were thrust without mercy? All this has come upon us, that we have not forgotten, we nor lost to our covenant. For your sake were we slain all the day long, and treated like sheep for the slaughter.
We walk the world of slaughter, stumbling and falling in a wreckage, surrounded by the fear of death, and eyes which gaze at us in silence, the eyes of other martyred Jews, of hunted, harried, persecuted souls who never had a choice, who've huddled all together in the corner and press each other closer still and quake. For here it was the sharpened axes found them, and they have come to take another look at the stark terror of their savage death. Their staring eyes all ask the ancient question, why? Lord our God, we have testified to your presence in heaven and earth, but in our day your presence has been an absence, your call a silence. Long ago it was written in your name, if you are my witnesses, I am the Lord, and if you are not my witnesses, I am not the Lord. We have struggled to live for you, and see what our fate has been. Is not your fate bound up with ours? How can your presence abide in a world where murder rules?
Without Jews there is no Jewish God. If we leave this world, the light will go out in your tent. Since Abraham knew you in a cloud, you have burned in every Jewish face. You have glowed in every Jewish eye, and we made you in our image. Now the lifeless skulls add up to millions. The stars are going out around you. The memory of you is dimming. The kingdom will soon be over. Jewish seed and flower are embers. The dew cries in the dead grass. The Jewish dream and reality are ravished. They die together. Your witnesses are sleeping, infants, women, young men, old, even the 36. Your saints, pillars of your world, have fallen into a dead and everlasting sleep. Who will dream you? Who will remember you? Who deny you? Who yearn for you? Who on a lonely bridge will leave you in order to return?
Silence. Where in this Holocaust is the word of God? Not in the storm, nor in the shaking earth, nor in the fire, but only within us. The world was silent. The world was still. And now survivors stammer. Their words are haunted. Behind their words, silence. Behind the silence, a witness to the sin of silence. What pains were taken to save cathedrals, museums, monuments from destruction. Treasures of art must be preserved. They are the song of the human soul. And in the camps and streets of Europe, mother and father and child lay dying, and many looked away. To look away from evil, is this not the sin of all good people?
Perhaps some of the blame falls on me, because I kept silent, uttered no cry. Fear froze my heart and confused my mind, and I did not resist the lie. My clear voice was choked and dumb, and I allowed them, without protest, to outrage and violate what was dearest to me, holiest. Cowardice came down and walked the earth. We hid our true feelings from one another. We did not hear the cry of a friend, and our own cry we often had to smother. Black suspicion, like the plague, murdered faith and left hearts cold. Courage was branded treason. Betrayal was called heroic, bold. Light hung its head in shame, waiting that at least one man should cry out, no, but no one cried. Only one thing was left, the patience to wait that justice might prevail one day. Perhaps that was part of my blame, that I kept silent, did not speak, as though I had nothing to say.
Out of the depths I call to you, O Lord. Lord, hearken to my voice.
For the sin of silence, for the sin of indifference, for the secret complexity of the neutral, for the closing of borders, for the washing of hands, for the crime of indifference, for the sin of silence, for the closing of borders, for all that was done, for all that was not done. Let there be no forgetfulness before the throne of glory. Let there be remembrance within the human heart,
and let there be, last, be forgiveness, when your children, O God, are free and at peace. And yet even in the infernal, even there, were those we call Hasidim, Hameot, Ha'olam, the righteous of the nations. Some gave their very lives to keep Jews from harm. Who can measure such courage when so many were afraid to act? They bore witness to the greatness men and women can reach. Look and take heart. If ever such days return, remember them and find courage. Consider what can be done, what must be done, not to banish from our souls the image of God.
Let the righteous who are faithful be remembered for good. By their deeds they have described themselves in the book of life.
We continue with the song of the partisans, and Sharon Merman's going to lead us. We encourage everyone to sing along. It's going to be on page 441, or the transliteration is in your pamphlet. So please sing with her. Do you want to say why you sing it?
Well, I was going to talk about first. Okay. Lashana Tova, Shabbat Shalom. I was curious about Hirsch Glick, who wrote the Song of the Partisans. So I Googled his name and found a short biography. On May 1st of 1943, a group of Jewish writers and poets met in the Vilnius ghetto for an evening devoted to spring and Yiddish literature. The Warsaw Ghetto uprising was still raging, and the meeting was filled with the spirit of the ongoing battle. At the meeting, the poet Shamarhu Yakserginsky met his fellow poet Hirsch Glick and was informed that Glick had written a new poem. They met the next morning. Now listen carefully. I'll sing it for you, Glick said. Yakserginsky recalled. He began to sing it softly but full of excitement. His eyes glowed with little sparks. The hour for which we yearned will come anew. Where did he get his faith? His voice became firmer. He tapped out the rhythm with his foot as if he was marching. The song that Hirsch Glick sang that May morning, Zognekeno, was to spread with amazing speed throughout the ghettos and camps, becoming a symbol of hope and defiance. Quickly adopted by Jewish partisans, it's sometimes known as Song of the Partisans, inspiring Jews to fight if they could, but if they could not fight, at least to survive. After the war, this song was taken up by Jewish communities around the world, where it's been sung as a memorial to Jews martyred during the Shoah, even being included by some families in their Seder night Passover service and in Yom Kippur services. Hirsch Glick was born in 1922 in Vilnius into a poor family. His father was a used clothes dealer. Acknowledged as an outstanding young author, he began to write poems in Hebrew when he was only 13, later writing mainly in Yiddish. Because of his family's poverty, he was forced to end his studies prematurely and became an apprentice in a paper business, later working in a hardware store. Following the occupation of Vilnius by the Germans on June 26 of 41, Glick and his father were among those Jews arbitrarily seized and sent to work in the peat bogs at Białowieża and Rzeska. Even in captivity, Glick continued to write. In early 1943, the Białowieża camp was liquidated, and Glick was sent to the Vilnius ghetto, where he joined the United Partisan Organization and continued with his writing. Among the songs he wrote was Stil dich nach ist ausgebrochen, which recounted heroic deeds of Witka Kempner, a female resistance fighter who, together with two companions, blew up a German military transport carrying 200 German soldiers in the outskirts of Vilnius, the first successful diversionary act of sabotage by the Jewish partisans of Vilnius. Abba Kovner recorded, Lithuanians didn't do it, nor Poles, nor Russians. A Jewish woman did it, a woman who, after she did this, had no base to return to. She had to walk 3 days and nights with wounded legs and feet. She had to go back to the ghetto. Where she'd have been captured, the whole ghetto might have been held responsible. It was to be the first of many acts of resistance in which Witka Kempner was to be involved. On September 1st of 1943, the FPO unit to which Glick belonged was captured. He was deported to Estonia, initially to the camp at Narva, subsequently to that at Goldfitz. Even at the camps, Glick continued to create, reciting his poems to his fellow prisoners, who memorized them and passed them on. Some written copies of his poems were buried in the Vilnius ghetto, but the great majority of his works are presumed lost. In summer of 1944, together with 8 other FPO men, Glick escaped from Goldfitz. The advancing Soviet army was in the region, and the intention was to join the local partisans. But Glick and all of his companions disappeared, probably captured and executed by German soldiers in the area. During the years of Nazi persecution, Glick had deliberately composed poems that were intended to be sung to raise morale, to encourage the partisans, and to strengthen the Jews' faith and hope in the future. His most famous song, Zonknik Tamil, based on a melody by 2 Soviet Jewish composers, Dmitry and Daniel Pokras, has been translated into many different languages and remains a lasting monument to the triumph of the human spirit, a beacon to illuminate a world of darkness. On the back of your order in service, we have it in the Yiddish first. I hope you'll join me. And then we'll rise and sing it in the English with the choir. Sag ni kein Malas, du gehst im Läschen Feg, Kol Schlimmlen bleien vor Steinbläue Tag, Kommen weg nach unser Eusgebänge Show, Sveta poigt an unser Trott mir Seiden do, von grimmen Palmenland bis weißen Land von Schnee, wir kommen an mit unser Pein, mit unser Weh, und Wugewein ist ein Spitzfund unser Blut, schwarzen Wetter unser Gruber, unser Mut, Sveta morgen sind begilden uns dem Heim, und der Neckband verschwinden mit dem Fein, nur euch versammeln wird ne Sonne in der Kajor, wie Aperol so gehen das Lippen auf der Dor. Das Lied geschrieben ist mit Blut und mit Blei. Es ist nicht kein Glittel von der Feigl, der Feuchte frei. Das hat der Volk, der Fischen, Vater, die gewinnt. Das Lied gesungen mit der Kanne in die Hand. Das ist nicht klein und las, du gehst und läschen Fei. Coach im Landblei und vor Steinbläue Tag. Kommen weg nach unser Eusgebänge Show. Es wird der Poik an unser Trott mit Seiden do.
You must not let yourself consider this the end. When skies are bled above you, threateningly bend. The longed-for day will come at last, we have no fear. Our steps will be like drums proclaiming we are here. From land that's green with palms to land that's white with snow, we wander on with all our grief, with all our woe. And where our blood is flowed, and we shall prove at length that we have doubled all our courage, all our strength. The morning sun will gild the morrow with its glow. The dismal yesterdays will vanish with our fall. But should the sun of dawning prove to be delayed, our song must live for generations unafraid. This song is written with our blood and not with lead. It's not the song of birds that have no fear or dread. 'Twas sung by people holding guns the while they stood, with falling walls protecting them as best they could. So don't let yourself consider this the end. When skies of lead above you threateningly bend, the longed-for day will come at last, we have no fear. Our steps will be like drums proclaiming we are here.
Please be seated. Sandy Silberman. Page 446.
Lord, today we turn to you, uncertainly proclaiming your glory, with scarce remembered words of a half-forgotten faith. We have confessed our sins and promised to forsake them. Oh, find us as we grope for you in our darkness. Lord, pardon us as we knock upon your door. For it has been said, the gates of repentance are never barred. And it has been taught, we know our sin is pardoned when we no longer commit it. Use us, Lord, to speed the day of reconciliation when poverty, racial prejudice, and religious hatred no longer threaten to destroy us. When our wealth is used to feed the hungry and heal the sick. When the weak become strong and the strong compassionate. Reveal the splendor of your majesty to all who dwell on earth. Let all your works bring you as the maker, and all the living acknowledge you as creator. And all who read shall say, the Lord God of Israel is the King, whose dominion extends to all creation.
We continue with our Torah service on page 450. As we rise together for Ein Kamocha.
Ein Kamocha, Elohim Adonai, Vein Kemasecha.
Jacob, come, let us walk by the light of the Lord. please be seated. We welcome our first Torah reader, Matt Rosensweet, to the Bima, and his family, his mama, will be our first Aliyah. So, Amod, Yehuda Bat, Ezra, Aliyah Torah. Can you be there?
Baruch et Adonai Hamavarach.
Baruch Adonai Habarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'karvanu mikol ha'amim v'tachim ha'torah Oto. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. V'daber Adonai al Moshe lemor. Daber al kol adat b'nei Yisrael. V'amarta Elohim kadoshim teheyu. Ki kadosh ani Adonai el-checham, shamo v'aviv, tira'u va'esh shabtotai, tishmeru ani Adonai el-chechem. Al tifnu v'al achelim ve'ela, ma'asecha lo, ta'asu lachem ani Adonai el-chechem.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'chochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Congratulations. Nice job. Thanks. We welcome our next Torah reader, Jerry Kersner, and our next Aliyah, our next honors, are Paul and Sila Evers.
Eliyahu Zeb ben Michael Be'ester.
Eliyahu
Zeb ben Michael Be'ester.
Sila bat David Besar. Sila bat David Besar la'Aliyah Torah.
Baruch et Adonai Hamavarach. Baruch
Adonai Hamavarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamavarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'charvanu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
We lost our spot. I got it pointed, but it's. I got it.
Amen. V'kutzrechem es ketzir artechem lo techale ve'atzarecha liktzor v'leket kitzirecha lo telaket ve'charmecha lo te'alel ufaret karmecha lo telaket Le'ani v'lager tazov otam ani Adonai Elohechem lo tignovu v'lo techachashu v'lo tishakru ish ba'amito v'lo tishba'u bishmi la'shakir v'chilato Hashem Elohecha ani Adonai.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nota b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
We welcome the Grubbs family to the Torah.
Thank you. I'll try to hold the place this time. Someone
I'm going to call Gary. Ha'amod, Esther Bat, Israel, Egita, Yaakov, Ben Yisrael, Aliyah Torah. Can I get closer?
Big fun for you.
Baruch atah Adonai Elohim.
Baruch
et Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Lo tasuk esreyecha v'lo tigzal. Lo talin pula shakiritecha ad boker. Lo takalel choresh v'lifnei over. Lo titen mikshal. Vayareta me'elohecha ani Adonai. Lo tasu ovel b'mishpat. Lo tisa panei do. Lo tahadar panei gadol. B'tzedek tishpat amitecha. Lo tahalech rachel be'amecha. Lo tamod al damrecha ani Adonai. Lo tishne es achicha bilvavecha. Hocheach tochiach et amitecha. V'lo tiso elav chet. Lo tikam v'lo titor et b'nei amecha. Ve'ahavta l'reyecha. Kamocha ani Adonai.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam notan b'tzedekenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Gertie would be happy for you.
So now for the lifting and the dressing of the Torah, we invite Howard Snow. Perfect. We'll rise together, page 456. Wonderful. Please be seated as we continue with the reading of the Haftarah, reading of Jonah. Dr. Kay Boniface will lead us.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nevi'im tovim v'ratza b'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'torah u'v'moshe avdo u'v'Yisrael amo u'v'nevi'ei ha'emet b'tzedek. The word of the Eternal came to Jonah, son of Amittai. Go at once to Nineveh, that great city, and proclaim judgment upon it, for their wickedness has come before me. Jonah started out, however, to flee to Tarshish from the service of the Eternal. He went down to Yaffo and found a ship going to Tarshish. He paid the fare and went aboard to sail with the others to Tarshish, away from the service of the Eternal. But the Eternal cast a mighty wind upon the sea, and such a tempest came upon the sea that the ship was in danger of breaking up. In their fright, the sailors cried out, each to his own god, and they flung the cargo overboard to make the ship lighter. Meanwhile, Jonah had gone into the hold of the vessel, where he lay down and fell asleep. The captain went over to him and cried out, "How can you be sleeping so soundly? Up, call upon your God. Perhaps the God will be kind to us and we will not perish." The men said to one another, "Let us cast lots and find out on whose account this misfortune has come upon us." They cast lots, and the lot fell on Jonah. They said to him, "Tell us, you who have brought this misfortune upon us, what is your country and of what people are you?" "I am a Hebrew," he replied. "I worship the Eternal, the God of heaven, who made both sea and land." The men were greatly terrified, and they asked him, "What have you done?" And when the men learned that he was fleeing from the service of the Eternal, for so he told them, they said to him, "What must we do to you to make the sea calm around us?" For the sea was growing more and more stormy. He answered, "Heave me overboard, for I know that this terrible storm came upon you on my account." Nevertheless, the men rowed hard to regain the shore, but they could not, for the sea was growing more and more stormy around them. Before throwing him overboard, they cried out to the Eternal, "Please do not let us perish on account of this man. Do not compel us to kill an innocent person, for you, O Eternal, by your will have brought this about." And they heaved Jonah overboard, and the sea stopped raging. The men were greatly in awe of the Eternal. They offered a sacrifice to the Eternal, and they made vows. The Eternal provided a huge fish to swallow Jonah, and Jonah remained in the fish's belly 3 days and 3 nights. Jonah prayed to the Eternal, his God, from the belly of the fish. He said, "In my trouble I called to the Eternal, and God answered me. From the belly of Sheol I cried out, and you heard my voice. You cast me into the depths, into the heart of the sea. The floods engulfed me. All your breakers and billows swept over me. I thought I was driven away out of your sight. Would I ever gaze again upon your holy temple? The waters closed in over me. The deep engulfed me. Weeds twined around my head. I sank to the base of the mountains. The bars of the earth closed upon me forever. Yet you brought my life up from the pit, O Eternal, my God. When my life was ebbing away, I called the Eternal to mind, and my prayer came before you into your holy temple. They who cling to empty folly forsake their own welfare. But I, with loud thanksgiving, will sacrifice to you. What I have vowed, I will perform. Deliverance is God's. The Eternal commanded the fish, and it spewed Jonah out upon the dry land. The word of the Eternal came to Jonah a second time. Go at once to Nineveh, that great city, and proclaim to it what I tell you. Jonah went at once to Nineveh in accordance with the command of the Eternal. Nineveh was an enormously large city, a 3 days' walk across. Jonah started out and made his way into the city the distance of 1 day's walk and proclaimed, 40 days more and Nineveh shall be overthrown. The people of Nineveh believed God. They proclaimed a fast, and all alike put on sackcloth. When the news reached the king of Nineveh, he rose from his throne, took off his robe, put on sackcloth, and sat in ashes. And he had the word cried through Nineveh, by decree of the king and his nobles, neither man nor beast shall taste anything. They shall not graze, and they shall not drink water. They shall be covered with sackcloth, and shall cry mightily to God. Let all turn back from their evil ways and from the injustice of which they are guilty. Who knows but that God may turn back and relent, so that we do not perish? God saw what they did, how they were turning back from their evil ways, and God renounced the punishment planned for them and did not carry it out. This displeased Jonah greatly, and he was grieved. He prayed to the Eternal, saying, Eternal One, isn't this just what I said when I was still in my own country? This is why I fled beforehand to Tarshish, for I know that you are a compassionate and gracious God, endlessly patient, abounding in love, renouncing punishment. Take my life then, for I would rather die than live to see this. The Eternal One replied, Are you that deeply grieved? Now, Jonah had left the city and found a place east of the city. He made a booth there and sat under it in the shade until he should see what happened to the city. The Eternal God provided a gourd which grew up over Jonah to provide shade for his head and save him from discomfort. Jonah was very happy about the plant. But the next day at dawn, God provided a worm which attacked the plant so that it withered. And when the sun rose, God provided a sultry east wind. The sun beat down on Jonah's head, and he became faint. He begged for death, saying, I would rather die than live. Then God said to Jonah, Are you so deeply grieved about the plant? Yes, he replied, so deeply that I want to die. Then the Eternal said, You care about the plant, yet you did not work on it nor cultivate it. It appeared overnight and perished overnight. And should I not care about Nineveh, that great city in which there are more than 120,000 persons who do not yet know their right hand from their left, and many beasts as well? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam tzur kol olamim tzadik b'chol hadorot ha'el ha'ne'eman ha'omer ve'oseh ha'medaber u'mekayem shekol devarav emet v'tzedek al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al ha'nevi'im ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh ve'al yom ha'kippurim hazeh shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu l'kedusha ולמנוחה, למחילה ולסליחה ולכפרה, לכבוד ולתפארת. על הכל, אדוני אלוהינו, אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך. יתברך שמך בפי כל חי תמיד לעולם ועד, ודברך אמת וקיים לעד. ברוך אתה, אדוני, מלך מוחל וסולח לעוונותינו ולעוונות עמו בית ישראל, ומעביר אשמותינו בכל שנה ושנה, מלך על כל הארץ. מקדש השבת בישראל ביום הכיפורים.
We'll return the Torah to its ark, and then we'll break for Yizkor. Page 468, we rise together to return our sacred Torah.
Tehillah
Please be seated. For those who do not want to be here for Yizkor, this is the moment that you can take your break. We'll pass out the roll of remembrance right now. And we'll continue on page 477. Page 477, we begin our Yizkor service. Lord, I yearn only to be near you, though at times I seem remote. Lord, I cannot find the way unaided. Teach me the faithful service you would have me do. Show me your ways. Guide me. Lead me. Release me from the prison of unknowing, while I still can make amends. Do not despise my lowly state. Before I grow so weak, so heavy with mortality that I bend and fall, and my bones, brittle with age, become food for moth and worm. Be my help, oh, be my help. Where my forebears went, there go I. Yes, I know it. Their resting place is mine. I know it. Like them, I am a stranger passing through this life. Since the womb of earth is my allotted portion, and since I've chased the wind from the beginning of my days, when will I come to set my house in order? The passions you yourself have made a part of me have kept me wrapped within the passing scene. And how, enslaved to passion as I've been, a prey to fierce and fiery hungers, how I ask could I have served you as I needed to. But now the time has come to ask, why all this ambition? Why the quest for high estate, when tomorrow I must die? Why this expense of spirit, when tomorrow I mourn the passing time? These days and nights combine to bring me to the end. They scatter my thought to the winds, they return my frame to dust. What now can I say in my defense? What brave words remain to shield me from my truth? My nature has pursued me, possessed me, driven and flayed me, a doubtful friend from childhood on. What then do I really have besides your presence? Stripped of my pretensions, naked at the last, here I stand, and only your goodness can clothe and shelter me. For nothing now remains but this. Lord, I yearn only to be near you. At the bottom of page 479. We are feeble. We live always on the brink of death, scarcely ushered into life. We begin our journey to the grave. Our best laid plans are ever at risk. Our fondest hopes are buried with us. Ambition drives us on to high exertion. Indulgence makes us waste the powers we have. And evil seduces us to heap misery upon others. Success and failure, love and hatred, pleasure and pain mark our days from birth to death. We prevail only to succumb. We fail only to renew the struggle.
Our days are few and full of trouble.
The eye is never satisfied with seeing. Endless are the desires of the heart. We devise new schemes on the graves of 1,000 disappointed hopes. Like Moses on Mount Nebo, we behold the promised land from afar, but may not enter it. Our life at its best is an endless effort for a goal we never attain. Death finally terminates the struggle, and joy and grief, success and failure, all are ended. Like children falling asleep over their toys, we relinquish our grasp on earthly possessions only when death overtakes us. Master and servant, rich and poor, strong and feeble, wise and simple, all are equal in death. The grave levels all distinctions and makes the whole world kin.
Adonai, Madam, Matidaehu. Beninosh, Beninosh, Vatichashvi.
Bottom of page 481, Psalm 90. Lord, you have been our refuge in all generations. For 1,000 years in your sight are but as yesterday when it is past, or as watch in the night. The number of our years may be many or few, yet vain toil fills their span. For it is soon ended, and we fly away. So teach us to number our days, that we may grow wise in heart. Let the beauty of our eternal God be with us, and may our work have lasting value. O God, author of life and death, our wisdom is small, our vision short. One by one, our companions passing along the road of life disappear from our view. We know that each must walk the same path to the doorway of the grave. We strain to see what lies beyond the gate, but all is darkness to our mortal sight. You've created us in your image and made us share in your enduring righteousness. You have put eternity into our hearts, have implanted within us a vision of life everlasting. This hope we cherish in humility and faith, trusting in your endless goodness and your wondrous love. Sustain us, O God, that we may meet with calm serenity the dark mysteries that lie ahead, knowing that when we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you are with us, a loving friend in whom we put our trust. Through the light of our life, our hope in eternity. If some messenger were to come to us with the offer that death should be overthrown, but with the one inseparable condition that birth should also cease, if the existing generation were given the chance to live forever, but on the clear understanding that never again would there be a child or a youth or first love, never again new persons with new hopes, new ideas, new achievements, ourselves for always and never any others, could the answer be in doubt? Alas, for those who cannot sing but die with all their music in them. Let us treasure the time we have and resolve to use it well, counting each moment precious, a chance to apprehend some truth, to experience some beauty, to conquer some evil, to relieve some suffering, to love and be loved, to achieve something of lasting worth. Rabbi Tarfon says, the day is short and the task is great and the workers are sluggish and the wages are high and the master of the house is pressing. All things pass away, but you are eternal. So teach us, O God, to see that when we link ourselves to you and strive to do your will, our lives acquire eternal meaning and value, and sustain in us the hope, for we dare not ask for more, that the human spirit created in your image is like you, eternal. The soul is yours, the body is your work. Oh, have pity on your creation. In you, Lord, do I seek refuge. Let me never be put to shame. You have made my days a mere span. My life's duration is nothing before you. Those who stand firm are but a breath of wind. What hope have I then, Lord? My trust is in you. I dwell in the shelter of the Most High. I abide in the shadow of the Almighty. Let us call to mind the great and good, through whom the Lord has done wonders. Wise and eloquent in their teachings, they were just and loving in their deeds. There are some who left a name behind them, whose remembrance is as honey in the mouth. And there are some who have left no memorial, whose names have vanished as though they have never been. The bottom of page 488. Mizmor LeDavid, Adonai ro'i lo echzar, v'nodeshet yarbitzeni, almei minuchot gan haleni, nafshi yoshvev yancheni, b'magle tzedek leman shemo. Gam ki elech b'gdei tzalmavet lo irara ki ata imadi. Shivtecha umishantecha heme yanachamuni, ta'arach lefanai shulchan neged ta'arai, tishanta v'shem en roshi kosi revyai. Ach tof v'chased yerdefuni kol yemei chayai, v'shavti b'veit Adonai la'orach yamim. The Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want. God makes me lie down in green pastures, and He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in right paths for the sake of His name. And though when I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for you are with me. With rod and staff you comfort me, and you have set a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil, and my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. O Lord of life, our times are in your hand. One generation comes into the world to be blessed with days of peace and safety. Another goes to the valley of the shadow, enduring the cruelties of persecution and war. Heartbreaking have been the times that have fallen to our lot, O God. We have lived through years of tyranny and destruction. We are schooled in sorrow and acquainted with grief. We have seen the just defeated, the innocent driven from their homes, and the righteous suffer a martyrdom as merciless as any ages have witnessed. At this hour of memorial, we recall with grief all your children who have perished through the cruelty of the oppressor, victims of demonic hate, the aged and young, the learned and unlettered, all driven in multitudes along the road of pain and pitiless death. Their very presence on earth was begrudged them, for they brought your covenant of mercy and justice to the recollection of your enemies. They perish because they were a symbol of your eternal law. Their death has brought darkness to the human soul. They lie in nameless graves, in far-off forests and lonely fields, and the substance of many was scattered by the winds to the earth's four corners. Yet they shall not be forgotten. We take them into our hearts and give them a place beside the cherished memories of our own loved ones. They now are ours.
Come to love with
with sorrow those whom death has taken from our midst during the past year. Taking these dear ones into our hearts with all our beloved, we recall them now with reverence. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we remember them. In the opening buds and in the rebirth of spring, we remember them. In the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember them. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we have joys we yearn to share, we remember them. I'm sure that many of you can relate to this, but for me this is the first time that I have to say Yizkor for someone very, very close to me. And so in preparation for that, I wrote a small poem before I was going to read his name. So I'm going to share that and then go and read the list of names. It feels strange having this holy day without you, though in truth it still feels odd that any day goes on without you. Your name has changed where it sits on my lips, from healing and hope to memory and mourning. I thought because you were young and strong, healthy, smart, that you would fight your disease the way you fought all your law cases, the way you played baseball, the way you raised your kids, with gusto and verve, courage, honesty, and aggressive tenacity. And you did. But cancer fought too. How many years you used to come and sit in the congregation, saying your mother's name for Yizkor, sitting with my mother, as you both remembered your early losses. But you had each other. And now, too early in life, I will read your name for Yizkor. The list of remembrance grows longer, as the pews of loved ones who we miss start to feel endless, like gaps in the fabric of my being. Life pushes forward regardless, finding wholeness with the holes. This year we remember Nancy Minson, Robert M. Mendel, Scott A. Mendel, Rose Sandel, Ethan Cohn, Jerry Bernard, Harold Stern, Norman Neiman, Leonard Rosenbaum, Jean Sorg, John Fine, Jackie Sachs, Margaret Noble, Dorothy Fisher, Lillian Davis Grossman, Gerald Taft, Ruth Sugarman, Peter Fredrickson, Gladys Warshauer, Pat Goldberg, Elsie Rosenfield, Michael Levine, Herbert Levinson, Velma Grant, Pearl Cohan, Dr. Saul Pulaski, Sidney Kessler, Ruth Davidson, Stuart Fine, Irving Victor, Festina Brown, Sanda Fish Lowe, Nicholas Statman, Gary Strauss, Barbara Wassman, Bernice Bartel, Saul Schuler, Dr. William Boniface, Flynn Kirschenbaum. Would you like to add another name to the people remembering who we lost this year? We continue silently with meditations on 491. We rise for El Malay Rachamim, page 492.
El Malay Rachamim, Shochen, Shochen Baromim, Hamtzeh Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanfei Hashchina, Im Kedoshim Utorim, Kezohar Harakim Azehirim, Nishmot Yakirinu, Shehalechu Leolamam, Al Harachamim, Yastirim B'Sidek Rafav Leolamim, Beit Achayim et nishmatam, Adonai hu nachlatam, Yanuchu b'shalom, b'shalom al mishkavam, v'nomar amen.
Yitgadal v'yikadash emei rabba, v'amad yivrach yirteh v'yamlich machuteh, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayeh zachol Israel, v'agala v'yizvan kariv v'imru, Yehi shmei rabba barach le'olam omei amaya, Yibarach v'yishtabach v'yita'ar v'yitramam v'yinaseh, v'yitatar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei kedusha. Le'ela min kol brechata v'shirata, tishbechata v'nechamata, damiram v'ama v'imru. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Oseh shalom b'imramav, huya aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imramav, huya aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. We remain standing for the concluding service, page 501 with Chatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, יעמד יברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכן ויומכן, ובחיי זכור בית ישראל, וגלם פזמון וישתבח ויתהר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קודשה אלא מנקו בחטא ושירתה
תשבחתה ונחמתה תמירה מעלמה
ויאמרו
Shmana salachna hayam avur kifanayam un halelacha norav ayom. Hear now, forgive now, as the day turns to night. We praise you, the one awesome in greatness and mystery.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, אלוהים כל הארץ, Baruch atah Adonai,
Please be seated as we continue on page 506 with Sim Shalom, our prayer for peace.
Sim Shalom, Tova Uracha, Ekeva, Be'etzem, Berachamim, Berachamim, Aleinu, Be'yachol Yisrael, Be'yachol Yisrael, Aleinu, Be'yachol
Compassionate God, let the promise be fulfilled. I will bring peace to the land. You shall be serene and unafraid. I will rid the land of vicious beasts, and the sword of war shall be set aside. They shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, nor ever again shall they train for war. Justice shall roll down like waters, righteousness as a mighty stream. Shalom, shalom, lerachok, v'lakarov, amar Adonai. Peace, peace to the far and to the near, says the Lord. Page 510. The Lord, the everlasting King, the Lord will reign forever. Before the earth and sky were formed, the Lord was king. When heaven's light had yet to shine, the Lord did reign. Though like a garment earth decay, and heaven all as smoke dissolve.
The Lord will reign forever.
Before the earth expanse was spread, the Lord was king, and when its creatures all were formed, the Lord did reign. Though earth from out its orbits reel and tremble to its lowest depths.
The Lord will reign forever.
We rise for Avinu Malkeinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Patach Sha'arei Shamayim, Litfilatenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Na'al Tishvenu, Rekam Milfanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Slach Umchal L'chol Avonotenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Zachor Ki Afar Anachnu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chamol Aleinu, Va'al Olaleinu, V'tapenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chadesh Aleinu, Shana Tova. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatmeinu, B'Sefer Chayim Tovim. Avinu Malkeinu, Harim Keren, Yisrael Amecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Kalek Kol Tsar, Umastin Me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Hatzmach Lanu Yeshua Bekarov. Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu Va'anenu, Ki Ein Banu Ma'asim, Atzei Imanu Tzedakah V'Chesed V'Hoshi'enu. Please be seated. Our God, God of our mothers and fathers, grant that our prayers may reach you. Do not be deaf to our pleas, for we are not so arrogant and stiff-necked as to say before you, Lord our God and God of all ages, we are perfect and have not sinned. Rather do we confess, we have gone astray, we have sinned, and we have transgressed.
Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu, Tavo lefanecha tefilatenu,
Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avoteinu Tzadikim Anachnu Velo Chatanu
We all have committed offenses, together we confess these human sins. Some of us have kept grudges, were lustful, malicious, or narrow-minded. There was violence, weakness of will, and xenophobia. We continue on page 517. Now send forth your hidden light and open to your servants the gates of help.
O great Lord, in your justice and your perfect love, open for us the gates.
Open for us the gates of righteousness.
We shall enter to praise the Lord.
Open the gates, open them wide.
We knock at your gates, O gracious one, do not turn us away.
the gates, Lord. Open the gates for us and for all of Israel.
Open the gates of blessing for us all.
The gates of atonement, benevolence, and compassion.
The gates of dignity, excellence, and merit.
Generosity and hope, insight and joy.
Kindness and love, melody and humility.
Openness, purity, and quietude.
Renewal, simplicity, and truth.
The gates of understanding and virtue.
The gates of wonder and depth.
Open the gates, open them wide.
Open the gates, Lord. Show us the way to enter.
Restore us, God. Show us again the light of your presence, that we may find deliverance.
Open the gates for us, even now, when the gates are closing and the day begins to fade. Oh, the day is fading, the sun is setting. Let us enter your gates.
The day is fading, the sun is setting, the silence and peace of night descend upon the earth. Give rest now, O author of peace, to our troubled hearts. Lift up the spirit oppressed by guilt. Turn, O loved one, to your children. Turn to every broken heart and every burdened soul. Let us at this hour be sure of your forgiveness. From your house, Lord, we are about to return to our homes. Enter them with us, that they may become your sanctuaries, dwelling places of your Spirit. Then will our homes stand firm against the storms of life, to be a shelter for all that is good and a refuge from evil. And still another dwelling place have you destined for us, O source of life, an eternal home to which we shall go when our brief day on earth has passed. Open for us then the gates of everlasting peace, and keep alive in those who follow us the truth, the visions, and the hopes we have struggled to make real. This twilight hour reminds us also of the day when, if we are faithful to our mission, your light will arise over all the world, and Israel's spiritual descendants will be as numerous as the stars of heaven. Teach our people to recognize the meaning of our history and the challenge of our destiny, to proclaim to all your children the truth of Israel's message, one humanity on earth, even as there is one God in heaven. You alone know when this great hope shall be fulfilled, but the day will surely come, even as none of your words returns fruitless, without having accomplished your purpose. Then joy will thrill all hearts, and from one end of the earth to the other will ring the exultant cry, Hear, O Israel, hear all creation, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one. Your house shall be called a house of prayer for all peoples. All nations shall flock to it and exclaim in triumphant song, Lift up your heads, O gates, lift yourselves up, O ancient doors, let the King of glory enter. Who is this King of glory? The Lord of hosts. He is the King of glory.
Ah
We rise together, page 520. Lord, whither can I go from your spirit? Whither can I flee from your presence? If I ascend to the heavens, you are there. If I make my home in the lowest depth, behold, you are there. If I take up the wings of the morning and dwell on the ocean's farthest shore, even there your hand will lead me. Your right hand will hold me. And if I say, surely the darkness will conceal me, night will hide me from view, even the darkness is not too dark for you. The dark is clear as the day. When I consider the heavens, the work of your hands, and when I gaze at the measureless sea of space and the endless host of stars that sail in it, and when I set out to understand this marvel and its tremendous maker, then your greatness and power overwhelm me. Your infinite majesty makes me tremble with awe. For the worlds beyond count are but a breath of your spirit. The lucent sun only beams of your light. Oh, what are we that you have given us eyes to see something of your truth? What am I that you have given me thought to fathom something of your purpose? Yet upon the earth with all its abundance and beauty, forests dancing with life, mountains rising like prayers, seas roaring like their creative hymn, with all the mysteries of the boundless depths and the immeasurable heights, you have chosen us to proclaim your grandeur, to voice the longing of all being for you, O King of the universe and fountain of life. In woman and man, children of dust and offspring of heaven, you have blended two worlds, perishable earth and immortal soul, finite matter locked into time and space, and infinite spirit, which endures through all eternity. You have given us dominion over the works of your hands and placed all things under our care. You have commanded us to live at peace with all the living creatures and to walk softly in their presence. But there is that in us which darkens the soul. Called to a life of righteousness, we rebel, arrogance possesses us. The passions that rage within us drown the voice of conscience. Good and evil, virtue and vice, love and hate contend for the mastery of our lives. Again and again, we complain of the struggle, forgetting that the power to choose is the glory and greatness of our being. And when we succumb, life loses its beauty, and within us sounds the voice of judgment. Where are you? How you have fallen, O children of the Most High. But sure as is your judgment, Lord, sure still is your mercy. It is not the death of sinners you demand, only that they return to you, return to life. The gates of your forgiveness are open wide, and all who seek to enter may be at one with you. You're aware of our weakness, eternal God. We have come before you longing for your presence, your light, your peace, and we have reflected with anguish on a life misused and filled with regrets, on opportunity neglected and promises unfulfilled. We have struggled to reach you, to turn back to you and to your law. Accept then our penitent spirits, be with us as our hope for the future. Now as evening falls, light dawns within us, hope and trust revive. The shadow that darkened our spirit is vanished, and through the passing cloud there breaks with the last rays of the setting sun the radiance of your forgiving peace. We are restored, renewed by your love. How can we find words to thank you for your goodness? And how can words alone be fitting thanks? And so we make this pledge. We will thank you with our lives. We will offer to you the work of our hands. Fill then our heart, our life, our work with a constant love for you, God of the universe, creator of all life, Lord of all being. Then shall all souls rejoice and sing. You have turned my grief into dancing, released me from my anguish, and surrounded me with gladness. O Lord, my God, I shall give thanks to you forever. Yitkada v'yikada shamei rabba Yamati vrach yirte v'nich machute V'chayech onu v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalel v'yitalal shmei kedusha Leila min kol brechata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata damiram v'ama v'imeru Titkabal slotom uvaton dechol Yisrael kadam uvahon dibashmaya v'imeru Yehesh lama rabba min shemaya v'chaim alena v'kol Yisrael v'imeru Osei shalom b'imromav hu yasei shalom alena v'kol Yisrael v'imeru We remain standing for Hatikva, page 533. Great job. Turn back to 527 for Havdalah, separating the holy from the mundane, continuing to the new year. We can hit the lights. No. Lai 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 ya lai 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 ya lai 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 ya la lai lai ya la lai ya lai 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 ya lai 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 ya lai 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 ya la lai lai ya la lai Baruch Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Borei minei besamim. Borei minei besamim. Yalai lai 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 lai. Yalai lai 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 lai. Yalai lai 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 lai. Yalai lai yalai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Borei me'orei ha'esh. Borei me'orei ha'esh. Yalai lai 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 lai. Yalai lai 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 lai. Yalai lai 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 lai. Yalalai lai yalalai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Hamavdil ben kodesh lechol. Hamavdil ben kodesh lechol. Yalai lai 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 lai. Yalai lai 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 lai. Yalai lai 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 lai. Yalalai lai yalai lai. Wait for it. Eliyahu Hanavi. Eliyahu Hatishbi. Eliyahu. Eliyahu. Eliyahu Hagiladi. Bimhera beyamenu. Yahavu Eleinu. Imashiach ben David. Imashiach ben David. Eliyahu Hanavi. Eliyahu Hatishbi. Eliyahu. Eliyahu. Eliyahu Hagiladi. And what you're doing now is perfect, so I don't want to stop it. I just wish for all of you a wonderful, positive year full of health and joy and happiness. We have our blessings here over wine and challah so that you can go straight to your food. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Borei peri hagafen. The motzi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Thank you so much. May it be a blessed year.